Babes, how we doing? We got an early chat. It's Wednesday. It's hump day, and I got the chapter at like 6:30 in the morning. 6:30 in the morning. I didn't read it that early, but I was up that early, and I was like, "Is that actually the chapter? It's out right now." I don't know why. Could have something to do with Golden Week, the break week. I'm not sure. The best part about this chapter is that we do not have a break next week, which is fantastic. But there's a lot to break down here. I think even I was a little speculative. I think I talked with some people and I was like, I think that they're actually going to give us what we want. I think they're going to let Sabo talk. But I thought that this chapter would have ended in Egghead and it didn't. But we got a ton of information, a ton of information. I love the cover page, the truth about that day. We get Doflamingo. I love Doflamingo, man. I hope he comes back in some way, shape, or form. I think that he will, but I don't think that's going to be until kind of the end of the story. And then he's going to comment on just the chaos in the world and how he knew this was all going to come. But that's hearsay. He is out of the story as far as we know. He's an impel down as far as we know. But the Kamabaka Kingdom, the first thing I'm going to say too, I'm amazed that they're even able to stay here. I feel like they would have already known not only the location of the Kamabaka Kingdom, but the fact that Ivankov escaped Impel Down. Even though I know that they were a ghost, I'm curious if they were in the Impel Down records at any point. I feel like they might have been, but it could just be a ghost, so they're getting away with this. But I'm just surprised that they're able to stay here with nothing coming after them. Nothing coming after them at all. Nobody knows. There's no rats in the revolutionaries. It's just surprising to me that they've been staying here for like 200 chapters now, maybe more than that. But Sabo says, we accomplished everything we wanted to do. There were 3 tasks: declare war, rescue Kuma, and destroy the food reserves, making it so they maybe have to relocate. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like that's going to be too big of an issue. Even destroying their food reserves, I feel like isn't going to be too big of a thing. I think the reason why that was kind of one of their things is because they attempt to put on a siege, I think. And taking away the food reserves is a great way to accomplish a siege, just making the timing of it shorter than it should be. But a siege against everybody who's in there, I don't know if that's the move. That could be how the war starts. I'm not 100% sure. But it's interesting to see. They're talking about all the nations who they set out to join them. And it seems like a lot of the world is starting to recognize the revolutionaries and see that that is their best option. Of the 12 that they did, 8 were successful. Leloucha was blown up, but we know that all the people are kind of there now. So they might have the strength of the people, but just not the land. Talking a lot about resources. Saying that the Holy Land is kind of an impenetrable fortress, and it kind of is. Sitting atop the Red Line with all those guards, admirals at the beck and call at any time. It's tough. Ivankov then says it. See how they like living under siege. I don't know how they're going to accomplish that. I think some of the powers that they have will be very good for that, like the Mole Man himself, Morley. I'm pretty sure that's his name. We get to see some of their powers too. I just don't know how that siege is truly going to go down. Then Dragon brings up, they're not going to take this lying down. They will mobilize God's knights. Somebody told me that this was in an earlier chapter. I haven't done my research yet, so I'm not 100% sure exactly what they're talking about there. But one of those images, one of those dark figures looks scarily like Shanks. And I'm sure everyone's going to go immediately to saying, this is Shanks. This is what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't think so. I really don't think so, just because I feel like that would upset me a lot. I just don't know exactly why that would be happening, but it is interesting that he was talking with them not too long ago. He is somebody that they at least trust enough to be put in front of them, somebody that they're not scared about being out in the world, even though he's after the One Piece. There's a lot there. I don't think so. I think it would be too ugly of a thing, and I am really just hoping that doesn't happen. Sabo talks about how he does not like the Flame Emperor. He's like, I'm not really a fan of that name. He's not the man marked by flames. It's not Kuzan. We don't know who it is. Everyone immediately goes to Scopper, and I guess I can kind of see it, but I'm not sure exactly of their powers from the last chapter. Talking about King Cobra, and we see him at the very end about to talk to the 5 elders, and exactly why we're not sure. I think that's something we're going to find out hopefully next week if they stay here. But they did get a good image. I don't know if it was doctored. I don't know exactly what it was. It looks like he was more defending him, but King Cobra is laying down next to his chair, assassinated, and they're blaming Sabo. Now, most of the world, I would say, does not believe this, but they kind of had to get that out there as quickly as they could to try to get the scoop so that the world believes the truth that they're telling them. As Doflamingo puts it, justice is the winning side. It's just whoever wins. That being said, it seems like the revolutionaries won this small attack on the Reverie and set up what's kind of going to happen next. So then it actually flashes us back, because as much as I love hearing Sabo talk, I'm like, let me see this shit. So we're like in there, they're talking about blowing up the storehouses, all these uptight Celestials are running around, writing their humans doing what these garbage humans do, and then we see all the commanders come in there. I was surprised. It seems like the Raven Man himself, let me try to get his name, Karasu, his power is the suit. Now, when I first, I didn't know what his power was. His power was kind of like strange, I'm not entirely sure. Suit, I almost guarantee was going to be a Logia type, and soot is what's like around a campfire, like it's like the soot. It's like, not House Moving Castle, Spirited Away, those little guys with the little eyeballs running around. He's soot, which is, I guess, broken. I could see it as being broken just because it's such a tough thing to get your hands on. But with hockey, who knows for sure? He seems strong enough to at least deal with an Admiral for any given amount of time. He wasn't stomped by Fujitora. What is super interesting here, and Oda does a very good job of doing, is two things. One, the God Knights make it look like the Admirals still might not be as strong as we think. As a Yonko, we're not sure, but he nerfed them both. He nerfed both Green Bull and Fujitora because their powers are very much AoE, very much. And I think that's kind of what it means to be an Admiral too, unless you're Kizaru, because he can be very, very pinpoint. But they're very much AoE and taking up space and doing damage to a wide area. And attacking them when they're on, when they're in Mary Geoise, they can't really do that because they're going to be destroying the land, they're going to be hurting the people, and they just can't really do it. And they even say that, they're like, yeah, we can't really, it's impossible to fight here, like I can't do anything. And even Fujitora's like, I'm going to drop a meteor. He's like, can you not do that? Can we not? And then out of nowhere, Oda, nobody dies, nobody gets forgotten. We see every single one of the CP9 members just chilling in white. They're just chilling. They're kind of talking. I think that they might be still government agents. They're just being demoted, promoted, I don't even know anymore. But I'm like, bro, like Oda can't let anyone die, which is why I'm going to call this right now, one of the God Knights is an L. Just going to throw that out there. I don't even think it's that far-fetched with what Oda's been doing lately. One of the God Knights is an L. They've recruited him, and he's too broken to not use. We see Saint Charlos. He is after Shirahoshi, even still. She's just hanging out. Bonnie is on the move because Bonnie was there a month ago. So exactly what she's doing, probably trying to rescue Kuma as well, figure out that situation. And I think that once we see what she's going to do, then we'll be able to finish her story on Egghead, which is a nice little, it's a nice little transition into that, to go from this to finish Bonnie's story where she's at now, because Kuma's basically dead, and then he might die to end it, which will be sad once we get probably his whole backstory, but we'll have to wait and see. We see Cobra getting pushed all the way, and he's in front of the 5 elders, and he's like, this is gonna be a boring conversation, you don't want to be here. But we have no idea why he's there, what they want to talk about, none of it. Lucci and Vivi have a little bit of a spat, which I enjoy, and it was just a solid chapter. Nothing crazy in my opinion. The God Knights are interesting, scary and interesting, and I cannot believe that Oda is still being like, yeah, there's going to be new hierarchies of people. And then with the God Knights, I'm like, okay, well, the God Knights mean so much, because then that was another pillar in the Navy that we never knew about the government that we never knew about. So then what else was that really supporting? Does that support the theory that the 5 elders fight? Does it then make it look like they're not fighters? I don't know. I think they are, that they're like the final pillar, but the God Knights are interesting. So we'll have to wait and see. I hope it's not Shanks and his crew, but one of those silhouettes, I'm telling you, go back and look at it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Great chapter. I'll see you guys next week for probably a banger, finishing this part out, seeing what happened to Cobra. Until then, hopefully we see Luffy soon, because we have not seen him in like 2 months. Peace out, babes.
Bye.